Yo, what's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG Gifting a Gift. Hey, I just want to take the time to tell you thank you for giving me your eyes and your ears once again as we get ready to dive deep into some inspiration that I pray will plant like a seed in your mind and assist you in becoming a greater version of yourselves. So you know that we live by this statement here. We're all gifted differently to make a difference. And we have an amazing difference maker that's going to be coming on to share. I'm going to introduce him here in a moment. But I just want to go through the vision of this platform. And it's to provide tips and techniques for young men as they strive to grow in personal development. And I want to challenge you, listener, as well as myself, to become a passionate visionary who is determined to leave a legacy for themselves by adopting unwavering life values and serving others in the area of gifting led by God. So that's the journey that we're on. And gosh, we'll continue to take that daily challenge together. And whether you're a teacher, parent, young man, female, youth advocate, get your pen and paper. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed from me telling you that, because this man, Mr. Rodge, is about to bring some golden nuggets. I'm going to go ahead and read off this short bio on this giant. I'm gonna get him on here on the GNG Livestream podcast, episode 16, baby. Mr. Rodgers is an up-and-coming author and speaker on emotional intelligence and a supporter of students with special needs. Mr. Rodge has served his country and communities as an Army veteran and a public school educator. He served in the Army as a mental health specialist. He worked in public schools for 15 years as a general education and special education teacher, instructional specialist, and case manager. Special education is a topic near and dear to him, who his oldest daughter being diagnosed with severe autism. And he's going to dive deeper into his whole journey and mission on GNG Livestream podcast. Are you ready to get it, Mr. Rodge Champion?
Yes, sir. I am ready, man. I like your energy, man. It gets me pumped up, man. So
hey, I love it. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. I know I kind of read off a brief bio there, Mr. Rodge. Is there anything else that you would like to add to what I just shared with the audience?
Oh man, how many minutes you got? I mean, 'cause I could go on and on with that. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting journey. Where I'm at right now, I never even pictured, even 5 years ago. And so, it just goes to show you, man, that, always be open-minded to changes and to opportunities and everything, man, because again, I couldn't even envision this. This wasn't even on my radar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amen. And can you go dive a little bit more deep on your story? Now, I know you've been doing some amazing things in your community for young people, adults as well, growing other speakers to become phenomenal versions of themselves. So can you share a little bit of your story of how you got to where you are right now?
Oh, man, most definitely. So, I did serve in the Army for 5 years.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
You're welcome. And so once I got out the military, I had to do some finding of myself because I didn't go into the military immediately after high school. I went to college and did some other things. And so, the military taught me that I really enjoyed doing things that served people, helping people. I wasn't one that's going to be on Wall Street or something like that. And so I went into teaching. And it's funny because my mom had tried to push me into teaching when I went to college, but I was like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. This kid's too bad in school. And so, I didn't get into education when I went to college. But as I matured, I kind of figured out like, you know what, man, I think I could do that. And so I taught for 15 years in public schools here in San Antonio, Texas. And great experience, really good experience. As a teacher, man, they always are bringing in people to speak and do trainings and that sort of thing. And like I said, at that time, I didn't think nothing of it. But there was one time, and I think this is where the seed was planted. My principal had hyped up this speaker. She's like, man, we got to bring this guy in. He's so awesome. And so they brought him into our campus. They were able to work out a deal to bring him in. It was for teachers. It wasn't for students. And honestly, it was a little underwhelming. And I remember a teacher sitting next to me. She's like, Mills, they gave that man all that money. We could have got either one of us to go up there and talk about the stuff he talked about. And I agreed with her. I'm like, yeah, I agree. I could have did that,
Yeah.
But it just kind of planted a seed that took a long, long time to take root, because this was like in 2012. And so, like I said, this wasn't even on the radar. So I was looking to get promoted in the school system. I told you, this is kind of a long story, a lot of little points to it. But I was looking to get promoted in the school system. Well, the mid 2010s was very disappointing in that regards. I'll be straight up, because I was trying, I got my administrative certification and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be an assistant principal and, try to have more impact. And I knew it would be more responsibility. I wasn't I was looking at the hours that I would have to do the job. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to just have to tough it out, because they do work long hours. But I went to interview after interview, and it was never I was always the wrong fit. You're not the right fit, or we're going in a different direction. I went to 10 interviews for assistant principal, at least 10. Yeah, 10 interviews for assistant principal. Then I went to interviews for other like leadership type positions in education. Just never really happened. And it was frustrating, man. I mean, every time you go for an interview, especially with such high stakes, it's a letdown. It's an emotional letdown. There's times I got the call like, oh, you didn't get the job. And I was just like, man, I actually had tears in my eyes. Like, man, what's it going to take? But all the while, I was being pushed in this direction with speaking. And so I'd say about 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, I started getting a little bit more interested in speaking for some reason. I was looking at different motivational speakers, and I'm like, man, that's cool. And I learned a little bit more about it. I'm like, hey, the barrier to entry is pretty low. You ain't got to have a lot of money to get into it. And I'd always gotten good feedback when I spoke. And so I'm like, man, I'm not afraid to get in front of an audience and speak. I'm comfortable, even though, like I said, I'm an introvert. But I was never intimidated to get in front of a group and speak. And so I gravitated toward that. And so 2017, I'm like, what, let me launch what I'm going to do. And so I started speaking at some nonprofits and everything. And it's just kind of grown from there to where I'm at right now. But like I said, most of my life, I had no idea that I would be doing this.
I got you. And it seems like from whenever you was seeing that first speaker on stage, that seed was planted, and little things, little situations, little outcomes kind of kept watering that seed, and you kind of flourished to where you are right now. Like whenever you realize to go after or strive to become that speaking author, was there any point where you was, felt like, this wasn't what I was supposed to do, or you was in a sense of scared of what other people would say? Did any of that kind of pop up?
You always have a little bit of doubt, but honestly, no. I just felt like, what, I can make this work. I was just all in. And yeah, you have your ups and downs, and it's like, man, this is taking a while to materialize in some aspects. But I was like, what, man, I got a lot to learn. And the more I learn, the more experience I get, I can do this. That was the overall feeling that I had when I got into speaking. I knew that, hey, had to start from the ground, and it's going to go uphill. And so, yeah, there's been some bumps in the road, but it's nothing that has, I can't say that it sunk me. It's nothing like that. It's just like, you just got to keep moving. It's just like they say in sports, you got to put the last play out of your mind and get ready for the next play.
Most definitely. And it kind of brings me to the theme of this whole conversation. And I love the theme. You can win being you. You can win being you. And it sounds like you're winning, allowing failure to be your friend. I feel like that's so important, and not being afraid to fail, because I know my journey is being, in that same realm as a speaker. And I can't even think about the first speech that I ever done, kind of going blank headed, and knowing like you critique yourself so hard
Hmm.
on the dynamics of everything, but learning to just kind of step back, review that film. I know I'm an athlete, like you
Right.
were reviewing like previous football games, to kind of see where you exactly messed up on the play, and try to
Hmm.
correct it for the next play. So again, just kind of taking that daily challenge, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show on the platform, is everything's a daily challenge, and knowing that it's a process. I feel like
Hmm.
throughout my journey, everything's a process. Things may not work out the way that you plan, but at the end of the day, like you said, if you keep striving forward, keep being consistent, I'm kind of paraphrasing what you shared, but eventually that seed that you did plant will flourish in something beautiful that you would like to create.
Yeah,
And
the first couple of editions of my book were success is a process, not an event.
mm,
So that's it right there.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely. You can win being you. So as far as that young male that's viewing you right now, I know he's looking at you or listening to you on the replay or on the podcast. What do you feel like the biggest challenge that our youth face right now in 2020?
Well, it's just a lot of distractions out there, man. I mean, and here's the thing. I'm not. I've never been one to say, well, oh man, when I was growing up, boy, we walked to school. We walked 20 miles to school through the snow and everything. Look, I saw people acting the fool back when I was coming up. Some of the same stuff. Trust me, if you would have put a phone in their hand, they would have been doing some crazy stuff too. you know, so, I'm not even going to stunt with that. But as far as youth today, I think, there's just so many issues going on in society. I think, because we're so well connected that they're exposed to more, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Because, yeah, like I like to tell them whenever I speak, everything you need to know is right at your fingertips. At the same time, everything is at your fingertips. So, it's the bad stuff that's at their fingertips too. And so, I think it can be a huge distraction to a lot of them. It could get them sidetracked, and, it can also be dangerous because you can encounter people that will put you in a bad position. And so, also, being a youth, they tend to be very impulsive, young man, especially sometimes we can be very impulsive. Thank God they didn't have all this stuff when I was coming up. you
Yeah.
know because now everything is like it's recorded, it's documented, it's documented on social media or video or whatever else. And so I think that's some of the bigger challenges right there. Of course they got youth out there that make the right choices. They understand that, what, let me be careful what I'm doing on the internet. Let me not just put anything up there. But, there's a lot that don't understand that, hey, you know what, once you put something out there, that's it. And I've told them,
Mhm.
I said, I remember doing a presentation. I went to a little small town and I pulled up some videos of them fighting. And
Uh,
I said, I done came from 2 hours away, but I can find a fight. And they're like, oh yeah, I know that person and stuff. I say, you see, now, if I can do that, think about the people that's doing the hiring in this town. You
mhm.
know, what if they hear that, oh, so and so was on a video fighting? You think they're going to want to hire that person? No, they don't want that person working for them. And so, that's the thing. They got to understand that your reputation follows you, and so to me, that's the biggest challenge right there. It's just, making sure that you keep a good reputation, especially with all the different outlets we have now that, you can put out information about yourself.
Most definitely.
Hmm.
And I challenge some of the young men I mentor to look at the situation like this, like what. So obviously you're making decisions right now as a young individual. You know, being able to focus is it can be hard at times at a young age, especially for young men. Anyways, it's kind of staying
Hmm.
laser focused, but putting it in the perspective like what you're doing right now, how would your great grandkids or your kids view that if they was to look back on some of your actions uh, at a young age. And it kind of goes back to what you were just sharing. Like, what are you doing on social media? What are you posting? What videos are you uploading? Like, our your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids. Hey, one day they're gonna Google your name. Like, what's gonna pop up? Like, what's
Mm-hmm.
what's the brand that you're presenting to the world? Because we all have our actual individual brand, and when you walk in a room, you are presenting your brand. And when you walk on the Facebook, Instagram, whatever the social media platform, you are presenting your brand name. So what is your brand name? I love what
Right.
you just shared there, man. That's really good stuff.
Thank you.
And yeah, I think we have to be really intentional on things like that. And also, I feel like our generation now, and it's a good thing, but at the same time, it kind of eliminates some of the stuff as processed, the instant gratification. So much stuff is happening so fast. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
an individual really don't got to leave their house if they don't want to. Like, if they,
Right.
doing network marketing online and they got money coming in, I mean, you can get food, man. You can watch movies. I mean, order clothes. I mean, everything can be done over
Mm-hmm.
the computer. So we live in an instant gratification type world, and it's just understanding the whole mindset of, hey, there's going to be times where, again, things are going to have to be a process. It's not going to happen right then and there, and also understanding, hey, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect
Right.
yourself.
Exactly.
Now, as far as your book, now I know you published a book. How does all that ties into your book as far as being intentional about your character?
Well, my latest book is You Can Win Being You. That's the fourth edition of my Success is a Process revisions. And so, it's all about, like, for example, self-empowerment. That's one of the first things I talk about. What everything boils down to you. Okay. You have an opportunity to make the right choices. And, I like to say I came up with an acronym called SHAPE. Okay. I say that,
You
and
said
I even
shape.
do, yeah, and I even do it in my presentations. I would love to get back to doing in-person presentations, because what I usually do is I'll have a mirror and I'll ask them, hey, who, I ask them a couple of questions and I'll say, well, who do you see when you look in the mirror? Like, of course they do, like me,
Yeah.
myself. And I say, you know what? Also, you see the person that's responsible for the shape that you're in. And I say, when I say shape, I don't mean, exercising and all that other stuff, but shape is success, happiness, attitude, progress, and effort. And
I
so,
like that.
yeah, everything boils down to you. It starts with you. Yeah, you can have circumstances that impact you, but at the end of the day, it's going to depend on you to make things happen. That's the bottom line. Like I said, I'm not discounting circumstances, but you have to take accountability. We can't, whatever has happened in your life, maybe it isn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to fix it.
Mm.
And I think that's a really important point for young people to hear, because a lot of times, it's great that we're in a time where people are a little bit more sensitive to certain things that are going on. But at the end of the day, we still have to, push through. And so, that's one concept I talk about in my book. I talk about resources or lack of resources. That yes, that's a real. It's always great to have more money or come from the ideal home or live in the ideal neighborhood. However, you have enough to do what you need to do. Okay, I've seen it too many times. You have enough to move forward. No, you don't have everything. Let's get that straight. You don't have everything, but you usually have enough to get you from point A to point B, maybe point C. And as you're moving, you're going to learn more. You're going to learn more or encounter other people. Like I said, I didn't know you, before.
Yeah.
But, as I progressed, 2016, I had no idea who Chaz was.
Mm.
But, through my journey, I've met people. And so I knew one person that knew you.
Right.
And he's like, hey, you know what? I guess he put in a word for me and you reached out to me. And so that's how things work. And that's what I want students, young men to understand. You know, you got to take action. This world respects action. I don't care if you white, black, whatever you are. You know, you're going to have to do what you need to do. You're going to have to handle business. So, you know, as a concept I talk about leadership, and, you know, I talk about just the process in general. You know, it's a number of things that I touch on in my book, and all of that goes together to help you. You know, that's why you can win being you, because you have, you know, the ability to chart your own destiny. And it's something that I've experienced. Like I said, I've experienced a lot of ups and downs in life. You know, my oldest daughter having a disability, and you know, I've got some other things going on. You know, my mom is bedridden, and you know, I've had financial issues and job issues. You know, trying to get promoted, and so, you know, I kind of feel like, you know what, it came at a time where I was like, you know what, man, I feel like I'm finally winning. You know, I'm winning just being myself. I haven't had to pretend to be someone else. You know, I've been accepted for who I am. I've had an opportunity to travel the country and speak coast to coast, coming from the, you know, I grew up in the second poorest town in the country, Ville Platte, Louisiana. You know, I don't live there now, but that's where I went to middle school and high school. Second poorest town. You can look it up. And, you know, to say, you know what, man, I came from that town as a black man, and, you know, I've been able to sustain myself these years. And like I said, I've spoken in Washington State, spoken in New York State, and places in between, started my own business. You know, I mean, it's, to me, it's like, you know, I want to share that story with people, because I think it's very encouraging, because I know, like I said, I haven't had the red carpet rolled out for me. You know, I've worked 2 jobs. Just before I started speaking, you know, I went full-time speaking. I was doing Uber. I was driving people around and stuff, you know, all night. You know, in fact, to do a speaking engagement, like I had an opportunity to go to the West Coast, San Francisco. Then like, hey, we'd love to have you come out and speak. And this was before I went full-time. But it's like, you'll have to pay your own way. And I'm like, okay, you know, I was out late at night doing Uber and everything to get my plane tickets, pay for my you know, my lodging and everything, and, you know, to make it a good trip. And so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just got to get out there and make things happen. Do what you got to do, you know, as long as it's within, you know, within reason, and you're not cheating anybody, you're doing it ethically and morally, you know, do whatever you got to do to make things happen. And, you know, so yeah, I did Uber a lot, you know, and I know people, I tell people like, yeah, I do some speaking. I know they probably thought like, oh man, what's up with this dude? You know, he driving me from the airport and stuff. But I would tell them like, yeah, here's a copy of my book. And I said, I'm just doing this right now. I'm trying to get my business off the ground. And so I'm doing whatever I got to do, you know? And so, you know, that's the thing, man. That's the message I want to send, especially to young, you know, young black men, young black women. It's like, you know, it's there. Like I said, no, you know, systemically, there's some things that's wrong with this country, but you still have some opportunities. And the way you can impact those things that are wrong is by raising your level. You know, that's how you can do it. So I know I said a lot right there, but
No, that was beautifully put. Beast mode. I know whoever's listening right now, you're thanking me that you got your pen and paper. He dropped some jewels right there. If you didn't listen to me, you can rewind it back and catch that, what he was just saying. But paraphrasing, and when one of you was talking, made me think of a verse in scripture. It says, let us not love with words or tongue, but with action and in truth. And a lot of times we can talk the talk, but we don't walk the walk, what my grandfather used to say back in the day. And it seems like you took action, and that's what it requires, you know, taking that action. And obviously you're going to run into those obstacles. And I know you kind of share the financial aspect of it. You having to work 2 jobs, you having to really grind, but you was finding opportunities during doing all those things to get to where you are as a speaker and an author. And it made you a stronger person. You know, they say diamonds are made under pressure, and you're a diamond for sure. And thank you for kind of going in detail for the audience on that. And I know you talked briefly about your mom and your daughter and your whole philosophy and really striving for kids with special needs. Can you talk a little bit more with the audience about how their lives has impacted you to kind of, study special needs more and educate and be involved in that whole community?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, my oldest daughter, that's what inspired me to speak. That was the first topic I spoke on was special education. And so yeah, I like to say, your trials can be your treasures, or turn your trial into your treasure. It's kind of a
I
little
like that.
term I came up with. And so I say that because a lot of times the things that are your biggest challenges end up being your gift. And so that's how it was with my daughter. Yes, I'll be honest, I hated her autism. I love her, but I hated the fact that she was autistic. And straight up, you're probably only the second person I've shared this with. I did share it with a previous audience that I spoke with in August. It was only my first time, so I'll share this with you. But as a dad, I'd be like, man, why did my daughter, why is she stricken with autism? Because I always wanted to be a dad. That's the thing. I mean, I enjoy being a dad, like I don't know what. And so, I look at some brothers, not just brothers, but whoever, men, I should say. And I'd be like, man, they got kids and they're not even taking care of them and stuff. That's just totally unfair. That's not right. That's a battle, an internal battle I've had. Not that I was hating those people or whatever, but it's just like, again, just a fairness aspect of it. And but like I said, that my daughter's autism has allowed me, it gave me a way to get out to the public and say, you know what, I can share what it's like to raise a kid with autism, severe autism. It taught me some skills because number one, it led me into being certified in special education in as a teacher. And plus now it also opened a door for me to speak. And so that's what I spoke on initially was special education, because, they always say, hey, you need to present yourself as an expert whenever you go out and speak. So, having a special needs daughter, being a dad to a special needs daughter, plus having been a special ed teacher, well, guess what? That gave me a really, focused or expert point of view, because not too many people could say that. They can't say that, hey, I teach special ed kids, plus I go home and have to attend to my special needs child. There's people out there, but it's not a huge number. And so I turned that trial into a treasure. As far as my mom's situation, I'm her only child. And so when she got stricken with a stroke, there's a lot of things that I had to do. And so, like I said, the 2010s were tough. It was pretty rough. My mom went down in 2009, November 2009. And so, I know she was really excited. We were about to drive back to Louisiana. She was going to see my youngest daughter, who was only 9 months at the time. And, about a week or two before Thanksgiving, get the call that she had a stroke. And it's just like, man. And, it was a challenge, because I had to take over all her personal affairs. And, thank God I had family that was willing to help out and, lighten the burden. But, all those things, man, it's just a lot of things going on. And so, again, I've been able to turn those trials into a treasure. And I'll tell you, one of my proudest moments in my life it happened just recently, where, I was able to visit my mom in the nursing home in November before all this COVID nonsense, and, I was like, Mom, guess what? I'm going around the country, because she's not even really aware of a lot of the stuff that I do, because she doesn't hear about it as much, but she totally understands. And I'm like, man, I'm sharing your story. And, I wrote a book and everything, gave her the book. And I mean, just the glow on her face was just like, it just like coming full circle, because how moms are, they're always worried about their sons. And that was always a thing, like, man, I'm worried, are you taken care of? Are you doing okay? And to be able to walk back in and say, you know what, I got this, man. I got it. I got it. And look what your boy is doing, I mean, it was just incredible, man. That was one of the brightest moments of of my life, and she was just so proud. And like I said, I share her story, growing up in Louisiana, Jim Crow era, first to go to college, and the impact that it had on our family. And so, man, I mean, that's why I said, that's really inspired me. Like, man, you can win being you. That's going to be
Dude,
the
you inspired me. You glowing on this camera right now. I can tell it's something that you're passionate about, and that's just contagious. I know you've already changed lives. There's so many more lives that's going to be changed by sharing your mom and your daughter's story and how you've overcome and being strong and advocate for them and continuing to set that standard for your generation and the next generation to come. And then what pops in my mind, and I'm sure the audience will appreciate this, whatever comes to mind for you, is there a tip or technique that you can provide to a young male that's listening to you, or whether it's a parent or whoever God is placed to listen to this, in regards of how what you used or the greatest lesson that you've learned going through that situation with a special needs daughter and mother that needed your assistance more? Is there a tip or technique that you can provide to encourage that young male or whoever's listening to overcome that obstacle and be the best for that family member or friend?
Well, both of those situations are extremely challenging, emotionally demanding, as I've already shared. My thing is, just do the right things, make the right choices. I have this other philosophy, 3D success. Okay. Success is in 3D. The first D obviously is discipline. So whatever you do, you're going to need to do consistently. You don't have to be perfect. And so, yeah, those situations I experienced, like I said, is especially the mental side of it is very up and down. No, I wasn't always super positive all the time, but you got to stay on an even keel. And so, even keel equates to consistency. Whatever challenges you're going through or whatever your aspiration is, you have to be consistent about it. That's all discipline is. Doing something repeatedly, predictably. The next D is decisions/discernment. And so, you got to make the right choices. And so in each of those situations, I had to make, decisions that made sense. Just because I had good intentions that didn't excuse poor decisions. And, there are some times where, hey, especially financially, you think you're doing the right thing, but sometimes it's not the right thing,
Right.
And that's just real talk, man. You're thinking like, okay, I'm going to try to do the right thing to cover ground or whatever. And it's not. I'm not saying, no, I didn't do anything illegal or anything, but it was just a poor decision. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have taken out a loan to cover, something. Maybe I should have just, bit the bullet and, just, went without,
Right.
And then lastly is, desire, desperation. You got to want it bad, whatever situation you're in, whether it was with my daughter, whether it was with my mom, it's like, what, I want to do the right thing. And that definitely applies to your aspirations. You got to go after it. Nobody's going to just come and do it for you. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, so if you do need help, you need to let somebody know, and eventually, there's good people out there. There's people, if you let enough people know, generally there's going to be somebody out there that sincerely wants to help you. Now, of course, being a young person, that's always a challenge because kind of going back to the discernment thing, the younger you are, the easier it is to make a bad decision because of the fact that you don't have experience. And so that's where it's so important to get that mentorship. If you can find a person that, is older than you that can provide you some sound mentorship, as a young man, as a young woman, I would highly, highly encourage that, and sometimes it's not always the person that's closest to you. You might need to become a part of an organization at school or college, wherever you're at, so that they can give you, more, I guess, advice or mentorship that's unbiased, because sometimes people close to us don't see what we have in us. And so that I think that's really important. All those things I think are nuggets that I feel could help somebody that's listening.
Boom. Beautiful nuggets too. 3Ds. I love it. And it kind of made me think about in my book Live, Learn, Lead Powerfully. I talk about in a chapter called Building Trust and Healthy Relationships, the 3 Bs. But one of the Bs is being relatable. And I know you said reach out to mentors, people that you can relate to, maybe even someone that's older that is going through that situation and has been in that whole on that journey a lot longer to be able to just to pour some golden nuggets on you. And I talk about how relationships, they can either nourish you or drown you using the analogy of water. And we have to get around people that are nourishing us and have our best interests in heart. And I truly believe your daughter and your mother, you're definitely nourishing them. And I know I'm even going back and trying to visualize your mom's face when you showed her that book for the first time. I'm sure she did light up, man. That's an awesome thing to even talk about. But one last question. Well, actually, I got two, but I want to see what comes to mind whenever I share this. Bonus question. So this show is gift and a gift. We're all gifted differently to make a difference. There's someone listening right now that has that gift inside of them that they haven't brought it forth for their generation, the next generation to see, to be able to serve. Is there anything that comes to mind to encourage them to unleash that gift and work towards understanding what that gift is actually consist of, and what comes to mind when you hear that?
Well, what you're saying, man, is something I struggled with for a long time because I mean, I remember having a conversation with a coworker of mine, and he was like, "Man, what is your talent? And what do you like to do?" And that was something I struggled with a lot. And so, one thing in our society, man, we tend to equate talents to sports and entertainment. And that's an unfortunate thing because a lot of times our gifts are outside of that. And so, in order to discover your gifts, discover your talents, try everything, be open-minded, learn about everything because you just never know, where your gift or talent may come from. And so by exposing yourself to different things, a lot of times you'll find like, hey, this is something I really enjoy. And, I could do it for free. And, those things that you can do for free, that's the thing that you want to do because you can definitely monetize it. And of course, make your own life, your own family better. And then you can always, because you're so good at it, because you love it so much, it'll allow you to impact others. And so that's kind of my philosophy. Just stay open to everything. If you're not certain what your gift is, if you know what your gift is, by all means, reach out to opportunities that will allow you to use your gifts. And here's the thing, the reality is that not everybody's going to say, oh, come on down. You're great at this. Come on down. Because, people are natural skeptics. And so have the thick skin, understand that not everybody's going to, just bring you in. And, trust me, I hear it a lot from speakers, like, man, I reached out to so many places and, I got a positive message, but they don't want me to, come and speak. Well, again, there's a lot of things that go into that, and that can apply to anything. But that's where you have to have that fight in your heart. Like I said, when I first started speaking, I truly believe like, hey, you know what? I think I'm good enough. They got guys making all this money, and I think I could be just as good as them or better. I feel like I'm even better now. I mean, I'm just being real. At some point, I was like, man, that guy I saw in 2012, I feel like I'm better than him now, and I'm just getting started. And so that's the thing, you just have to be committed to what you believe. Your belief is your truth. I like to say that also. You know, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. And that's how it was for me when I got started speaking. I believed that I could. Now, obviously, I feel like I'm a much better speaker now than what I was in 2017. But in 2017, I believed that, you know what, I could make this happen. You know, did I know the roadmap? No, I didn't. But I believed I could make it happen. And I think that's just applicable to everything, you know, to anyone. You know, if you believe, if you feel passionate enough about what you're doing, if you love it enough, then, you know, you'll figure it out. You know, you're going to figure it out. So
Most definitely. Most definitely. Dude, amazing conversation. Again, I had no doubt that you was going to bring some heat, some value. You was going to serve the audience wholeheartedly. I know that they're full, and God, amazing talk. Amazing talk. Thank you so much for your time, your effort, your presence. And I know for sure there is somebody that's listening to this right now. They're like, Mr. Rodge, this guy can help me. Can you share your contact information?
sure.
If when someone want to reach out to you.
Okay. Yeah, I have a website, www.successisaprocess.net, altogether, successisaprocess.net. Of course, I have a contact me form on there that you can reach out to me. Even has a phone number on there. I'll repeat it, 210-651-2026. It is on the website, though. Again, 210-651-2026. Of course, I'm on social media. Rodgers Speaks with a D, like the quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes I joke with kids when I was teaching, like, that's my brother. For real? I'm like, come on, man. Y'all know better than that. You know, we don't look nothing alike, you know, starting with the color. But yeah, Rodgers Speaks. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to find on social media. Rodgers Speaks with a D. ORODGERS, then the word speaks. Okay, on social media.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And one of my favorite quotes that I love to share is, you know, if I've seen farther than others by standing on the shoulder of giants. And I truly believe you're a giant. I know I said it earlier. You're a giant. I love what you're doing. I definitely vibe with what you're doing. I look forward to, you know, continuing to grow our relationship. And again, I just want to say thank you for blessing the audience on GNG podcast. And brother, you are loved and you're blessed. And gosh, man, I look forward to seeing what else God does in your life. And again, I'm so humbled about you being on here with us. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I love being on here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna lead us out, okay? Hey,
Right.
I told you to get your pen and paper. Hopefully you listened to me. If you didn't get the opportunity to catch this whole podcast live stream, go ahead and rewind it back. Let us know that you dare. Drop your comment. Share this out to anyone you believe that can resonate with Mr. Rodge's message that he brought to you. You can win being you. We truly believe that. And I want you to stay up with GNG. Episode 16 was epic. I want you guys to remember to keep those crowns on your heart. And also remember this. We are God's echo. I love each and every one of you. Peace till next time.